bridge is a connection between the theme for this year's Good Friday service, which was co-hosted by Diaconia Council of Churches and the Dennis Hurley Centre, challenging indifference, and the important elections on 29 May, 30 years after our first democratic elections. The question we had been tasked with for our first step on the bridge is, why should Christians even care about voting and elections? This question arises because it is thought that Christians should have nothing to do with anything political because politics is dirty. This may be true, but so can money be. But we can unfortunately not get by ignoring money and refusing to have anything to do with it. A simple statement in response to the question is that Christians are citizens of the country and so have the responsibility to exercise our minds on the choice of who is entrusted with the powers and duties of governance in our country. As people who follow God in the way of Jesus, we bring to the question a set of moral and ethical values and principles which should guide our thinking as we make our choice and as we engage in debates with friends and family in the build-up to the elections. We do have citizenship of South Africa, and we have citizenship of the Kingdom of God, in which there is no distinction between people, none of the isms that divide us and over which we quarrel and for which humans kill. Paul, in Romans chapter 13, reminds us that every person must submit to the authorities in power, for all authority comes from God, and the existing authorities are instituted by God. We pay taxes because the authorities are in God's service, and it is to this they devote their energies. I think it's important to be reminded that the authorities to whom Paul referred were the Roman emperor and his officials. The emperor who thought he was a god worthy of being worshipped by his subjects. So our government still think that ultimate authority lies with them, and they forget that they act at the pleasure of God. The role of Christians is to remind them that the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, and so any authority they may claim is only temporary. A quote that has been attributed to Edmund Burke, the 18th century Irish philosopher and statesman, is, "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing." Apparently Burke never said this, although he's been quoted throughout the ages, including by the late US President John F. Kennedy. The closest to the quote that Burke did say is, "When bad men combine, the good must associate, else they will fall one by one, an unpitied sacrifice in a contemptible struggle." The sense is the same, and the message is as important for Christians to take heed. If good people do nothing, those with ill intent and self-interest will have free rein to do as they please. It is tempting to think, as many say, that my vote's not going to make a difference. But that is a great mistake. Every vote counts. Every voice makes a difference. As South Africans, we should be fully aware of that. 1 point won a Rugby World Cup. Instead of being disillusioned, thinking that there is nothing that you or I can do to make a difference, I'm going to challenge you to put your faith to work, to pray for the country, and all the parties and candidates to pray for all who exercise their vote, that they may seek discernment in this important act of citizenship, and then to do the same, to seek discernment, to look for the party or candidate most likely to exercise responsible governance that will put the people first, that will seek to meet the needs of all people and all communities, to act in the interests of justice and peace, and to build our country again, rather than let it slide into ruin. It is time the moral and ethical values and principles of our faith be put to use in action for our country. May God guide you as you seek to exercise your responsibility as a citizen of South Africa to vote on 29 May, being guided by the principles and values of the kingdom of God, of which we are also citizens.